Hello dear students, you are welcome in this video. Dear students, we are making a series on defining literature. In this series, we will talk about what is literature, what are its qualities. Then we will talk about forms of literature. Then we will talk about different types of genres of literature. So this is the first video in this series, and here we have a topic that we are going to cover, defining literature or what is literature. A few questions we are going to cover in this video. The questions like here you can see very first question, what is literature? We'll try to understand the very concept of literature, then we'll try to define the concept of literature or in general the qualities of literature. So this question also will be covered, and also we'll talk about at surface level what are the genres of literature. So these are some of the questions that we are going to cover in this video. So let's start with the very first thing, that is literature, and what kind of things make literature as literature. Here you can see we use the very word literature in our mundane life, and most of the time we find different types of literatures. Here you can see some of the products which we use in our households. For example, we have a mobile phone, we have a fridge or a refrigerator, we have TV at our home, then we have washing machine or different kinds of products. So all these are electronic products, and with this product we find a user manual. So they provide user manual and a few things with that user manual, and there are many things described in the user manual, how to use that particular product, how to use that particular kind of thing at our home, or what are the basics of that particular product. Now all these things also called as literature. So user manuals also is a kind of literature we get with these products. Again, we have sports kit, you can see we have first aid medicine box, etc. So these kind of things also include a kind of literature. If you find if you go to a vendor and if you take all these things, they will provide you some kind of literature, and this sports kits also includes literature, different types of items. Then this medicine box also includes some kind of literature. But whether this literature we are calling is a real literature, or the concept that we are going to disclose or discuss here is the same, absolutely not. Our concept of literature is different, and that we are going to think. If you go to dictionary, you will find different types of meanings of the word literature, and all those meanings I am not going to state here. You can consult dictionary and find the meaning of the particular word literature, and you will get different types of meanings. But our concern here is a very particular, because we are going to talk about the notion of literature in the real sense, or as a student, as a learner, as a beginner, or as a scholar of a particular kind of genre called literature. Our notion is very different, and that notion we are going to discuss here. So first let's talk about how this word literature came into existence, or from where this word is derived. So the word is derived from the very word called literatura or literatura. So here is double T and here is single T. So this word is basically found in Latin, and this Latin word gave birth to the modern word called literature. Its meaning is stated as learning. We have different meanings of the same word, a writing and a grammar. So these three meanings are at the core of the word literature. Next, our concern here is writing formed with letters. So this is the meaning of the word literature we are seeking here, we are discussing here. Our notion of literature is based on writing formed with letters, and this word is taken from the Latin word literatura or literatura. Then we have the word litera or litera with double T, and its meaning is very simple in Latin. It is letter. So letters are used in literature, or literature is nothing but the use of letters and the formation of writing. So it is a body of writing. So basic concept here with the word literature. Now we have a few examples. So I would like to ask you a question, whether these texts, for example, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, Paradise Lost, then we have Hamlet, we have Robinson Crusoe, we have Ancient Mariner, then we have $1,000. Does all this works comprise literature? The meaning of this word is very simple. Yes, this is the literature we are talking about. This is the literature, and this literature is formed into different genres. Now, when you look at all these works, all these texts, what kind of things make it, or what kind of qualities make it as literature? So what is special in these kind of texts? So we will talk about the qualities or features of literature. Literature is nothing but a written or oral body of works, and these works comprise of special kind of qualities. So what are those special qualities? We will discuss here. So features and qualities of literature. So anything cannot be a literature. There are some certain features, there are certain qualities of literature. If you talk about all these texts, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, or whatever we have mentioned before, all these texts include these qualities. So let's explore all these qualities. Very first, we have particular use of language. Language is very important in literature, and if you go to any text, you will find a particular language with ornaments, language embellished with different kinds of tastes. So language is very important, because without language, literature cannot be produced. Very first quality is language. Second quality is pleasure or joy. Now, the basic objective of literature is to give pleasure, provide joy. And as John Keats had said, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. This is the statement made by John Keats. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. So what is literature? Literature gives us joy. Literature gives us pleasure. Why do we read literature? To get pleasure. So this is the first and basic objective of literature, to impart pleasure or joy. Third quality here we have everlasting, for all time. So we still read Ramayana, we still have the stories from Mahabharata. What does this mean? This means nothing, everlasting quality. So the Ramayana and the Mahabharata is for all time. It is universal. So this is also an important quality. Next quality we have source of knowledge. Do we read literature only to get entertainment or only to get pleasure or joy? Not. We also get some kind of knowledge from the literature. If you read the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, the stories, from those texts we will find different types of knowledge which is used in everyday life from those texts. So it is also a source of knowledge. Then it has creator. So literature cannot be produced in vacuum, or it has its creator or creators. We have the Ramayana composed by Valmiki. Then we have Mahabharata composed by Vedvyasa. We have Paradise Lost composed by John Milton. We have different types of texts composed by different types of authors or their composers. So it has creator or creators. Then the sixth quality here we have directs and reflects human life. So what does we find in literature? We find the reflection of human life in literature. You can take any example, any text, any literary work, whether you can have Ramayana or the Mahabharata, you find the life is explained, the human life is explained. All these texts rotate around the human life. So major concern of literature is a reflection of human life, and in a broader sense we say that it is the reflection of society. It is the mirror to society. If you go in the deep of literature, it also directs the human life, because we get so many things from literature, we learn from literature when we study literature, and hence we can say that it also directs our life. So this is the sixth quality. Then we have seventh quality, ideology or thought. This is very important, because this literature reflects the ideology or thought of an individual, and when we think as a text, it also can reflect or express the ideology of a nation. This is also a very important. It is not only an individual expression of the ideology, but the nation's ideology. So India is recognized for its grand or great epics called the Mahabharata and Ramayana. In the same way, England is recognized for Shakespeare and Milton. So these kind of things are very important, and they give a kind of identity. Next feature or quality is identity. It is not only an individual's identity, but a nation's, a group's, or a society's identity. So you can find that it is an identity of individual, group, or society or nation. So India is recognized, or India has an identity of the texts like the Ramayana, Mahabharata, and so many other texts. In the same way, it also gives you the ideology of a society. When we think about Sant Tukarama also is an ideology or identity of Maharashtra as a saint. So his literature reflects that identity. So this is also an important quality. Then every literature or every text have some kind of reason and objective behind its creation. So no text is without objective, without reason. No work of literature is without objective or without reason. So it has something in it. Why an author or a writer writes? So there are obvious reasons. So this is an important quality. Then we have 10th important quality, as we have discussed already about pleasure and joy and knowledge. So this preference may change. Sometimes you consider knowledge is important from a text. Sometimes you consider literature must give pleasure or joy. So this preference always is reversible. First maybe knowledge, or second pleasure, or first pleasure, second knowledge. So this preference also is important in literature. When we talk about literature, there are so many scholars. There is no uniformity in their thought. So they have arguments regarding whether the main objective of literature is to entertain, or is to teach, or is to preach. So this preference changes. Then subject or theme. So there is no limit to theme or subject in the literature. Literature can be produced on anything, right from the earth to sky or in this cosmos. So there is no limit for the subject matter or theme of literature. You find different types of themes, subjects in literature in different types of genres. 12th quality we have expression of emotions. So literature is a very strong medium of expression of emotions. So it reflects the emotions of human life or human beings. So you find different types of emotions are reflected or disclosed in the literature. So it is considered as one of the strongest medium of expression of human emotions. So emotions are very important. And when you read the poetry of John Keats or William Wordsworth or Shakespeare, you find those emotions. If you read Shakespeare's sonnet, you find those emotions at its culmination. So human emotions is one of the qualities of literature. Then we have number 13, an art expressing truth and beauty. This is very important, my dear students, because literature is not only an entity. It gives you the truth and beauty, the beauty of life, the truth of life, and it is in the form of art. Literature is nothing but an art, and it gives an individual the expression capacity, the expression capabilities to express the truth and beauty. When you read different types of texts, you will find this beauty and truth in literature. Number 14, a kind of revelation. So it is not only a kind of revelation to an individual, but to a group or society or a nation. So it reveals that particular individual, his thoughts, the process, and his whatever emotions he or she had. So this is the expression of emotions or expression of a different kind of revelations. Then we have special kind of tests. So literature generates text. When you read Shakespeare, you have a different text. Test. When you read Sant Tukarama and his Abhangas, you have a different test. So different types of tests are included in the literature. This is also important. Now let's try to form a definition of literature. Here I tried to form it. Just I read for you. Literature is any oral or written, these two things you should understand, body of work which consists of particular use of language, again language equality, gives pleasure and reflects human life in it. For example, epic, poetry, novel, short story, drama, essay, biography and autobiography. Now again we have combined all these qualities or features. For example, we have oral or written body of text, then we have a very particular language, it gives pleasure, reflects human life, and these kind of texts or literature can be divided into different genres. Genres like epic, poetry, novel, short story, drama, essay, biography and autobiography. we will think about all these particular genres of literature in coming videos. Now, let's talk about some of the statements made by literary scholars. I will read these statements so that we can have deeper understanding of the concept of literature, because we are defining the literature. So, here we have Vladimir Nabokov, and he says, literature and butterflies are the two sweetest passions known to man. This is the first statement. Now, he is directly comparing literature to butterflies. Butterflies are beautiful. When we see them, they are colorful, different types of colors they have. And these colors also are reflected in literature. Literature also is like butterflies, according to Vladimir Nabokov. Second statement we have, great literature is simply charged with meaning to the utmost degree, Ezra Pound. So, it is nothing but, what is literature? Great literature is nothing but simply charged with meaning. So, meaning is very important. Meaning means message that particular individual, a writer or poet wants to give to the society, or he wants to reveal his message to others. So, charged with meaning to utmost degree. So, meaning is very important in literature, according to Ezra Pound. Next statement we have Lionel Trellings, and he says, literature is the human activity that takes the fullest and most precise account of variousness, possibility, complexity and unity. So, he talks about these qualities. So, it is human activity first, means it has creator. So, human beings, authors or poets create or compose literature. Then it comprises of variousness, possibility. So, these are the qualities. Then literature also has complexity and unity. So, these are three statements. Next statement here we have by Cyril Connolly, and he says, literature is the art of saying something that will be read twice. Means he is talking about the everlasting quality of literature. Why literature becomes literature? Because it has the quality to read twice. Means many times we read literature. For example, we have again Shakespeare or Milton or S.T. Coleridge or Wordsworth. We read their literature still today. Why? Because they are timeless and it has the quality of timelessness. Next statement we have Stoppard Brooke, and he says, writing is not literature unless it gives to the reader a pleasure which arises not only from the things said but from the way they are said, and that pleasure is only given when the words are carefully or curiously or beautifully put together into sentences. Now, Stoppard Brooke talks about many things in his statement. He says that the pleasure arises, but when all these words or letters or sentences are put together in a particular manner. So, he talks about different types of things in his statement. Now, how we say the things, literature is nothing but just you sat and written down something, cannot be a literature, but it must have some qualities like the quality of giving pleasure, and when this quality will be persisted only given when the words are carefully and curiously and beautifully put together. Means the production of literature or writing of literature has a particular, we can say that, toil. So, you need to take efforts to write down, to form them, how you create. So, here he talks about how literature is created. So, these are some of the statements that clears the concept of literature. Now, here I have listed some of the examples of literature, and we will divide them or we will dissect them into different types of genres. So, here very first we have Ramayana, then we have the Mahabharata and Iliad. All three are epics. This is nothing but epics or great epics. Number 4, Canterbury Tales. Number 5, Absalom and Achitophel. Now, these two works, Canterbury Tales, are composed by Geoffrey Chaucer, and Absalom and Achitophel composed by John Dryden. So, Canterbury Tales is a collection of poems, and second simply is a poem. Then we have a philosophical inquiry into the origin of our ideas of the sublime and beautiful. It is composed by Edmund Burke, and it is nothing but an essay. So, this is an essay. Number 6. Then we have number 7, Hamlet. You all know, composed by Shakespeare, and it is a drama. Then we have As You Like It by Shakespeare, again it is a drama. The Duchess of Malfi, composed by John Webster, again a drama. Then we have On His Blindness, it is simply a poem. But again, in poem we have division, it is a sonnet. Then we have Essay on Criticism, though the name of the work or text is essay, but it is simply a poem by Alexander Pope. Then we have Life of Johnson. This is an example of biography. Moll Flanders, example of a novel. Animal Farm, it is also a novel, but short form of novel, which is called as novella or political satire or allegory. So these are the subgenres of literature or the novel. Then we have The Alchemist, again a novel. Next we have The Refugees by Pearl Buck. It is a short story. The X, also by R.K. Narayan, short story. $1,000, again O. Henry's short story. Then we have My Experiments with Truth by Mahatma Gandhi. It is an autobiography. And last, My Story by Kamala Das also is an autobiography. So these are different types of genres of literature. I hope you got the idea of literature or what is literature. Here is a book I have listed for you, An Easy Introduction to Literature, What is What in Literature. And in this book, you will find all these genres are discussed in depth. This book is available on Amazon. You can purchase it. If you have any query, any problem, please comment below in the comment section. We will try to solve those comments. Let's meet in the next video. Thank you very much.